Welcome back to the FirstLastNerdom, the show where we explore the first, the last, and everything mysterious, nerdy, and unexplained in between. This week we return to our special TV series experiment. Binge-worthy or not? Normally, this is where we watch the first 3 episodes of a show we're curious about, break it down, and decide whether it's worth binging. But today we're doing things a little bit differently. Because today we're talking about a show that doesn't need to prove anything. A show that rewrote sci-fi television. It redefined paranormal storytelling and made an entire generation look at flashlights in the woods a little differently. That's right. We're talking about the Blair Witch. No, I'm just kidding. The the X-Files. Let's be
Say
honest.
what?
Yeah, we already know the answer. Is it binge-worthy? Absolutely, undeniably. Cue the eerie theme music and trust no one because this one's been certified binge fuel since the 90s. So instead of pretending we don't already know better, we each picked 2 of our favorite episodes to highlight. The ones that hooked us, haunted us, thrilled us, and made us realize Mulder and Scully are one of the greatest duos in TV history. We're celebrating the weird, the iconic, the terrifying, and the beautifully strange corners of the X-Files universe. And yes, you're watching the video, you've noticed, we're still in our Halloween costumes, and no, we're not lazy. We just filmed this right after our Halloween special. We believe in economy and efficiency, and also in extending spooky season as long as possible. You're welcome. So grab your flashlight, check for government vans outside. FBI, knock knock, and keep your tinfoil hat nearby just in case. The truth may be out there, but tonight it's also right here with us. This is the first, the last, the Nerdom, and welcome to our X-Files binge-worthy special, where nostalgia meets mystery. We prove once again that some shows are beyond binge-worthy; they're immortal. Hey, Tom.
Yes. Hey, I'm keeping it brutal. Oh, I'm here with my brutal energy drink monster. So I only have one question for you there. Hello, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yes, Clem Fandango, I can hear you. Yes, with your made-up name.
Yes, Stephen.
Yes, I am Stephen Toast, and you are your local neighborhood.
Black metal guy, singer, drummer extraordinaire, keeping it brutal,
Absolutely
yep.
exquisite.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I didn't have like a white skull cap. I could have put that on and a little black hat and been our favorite guy, Art the Clown, but I went with the black metal guy. There's only room for one Art. He might get confused and knock me off or something for competition.
Yes,
Who
sir.
knows?
Yes, sir.
But we are the first, the last, the Nerdom, and Mike's just pulled up our page.
Yeah, I'll let you take it from
I,
here. Yeah, please go ahead. Continue, my friend.
we're at FirstLastNerdom.com. You can check out, we got a carousel of videos, our latest 10, if you so enjoy to check those out. We've got a little bit of everything we cover. We've been covering both movies and TV shows lately. We were kind of skimping on the TV shows until I created the show Binge Worthy, and we've been enjoying tossing back our favorite shows and exposing each other to them. That sounded mildly dirty. I don't know. But yeah. I also do little shorts on comic books that I like here and there. And we do some comic books. We cover all sorts of things: horror, sci-fi, comedy. We do some fantasy. So there's a little bit there for each of you. We just went over 300 videos, so I'm sure
I
there's
saw that. Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, there's something else out there that might tickle your fancy, and we're coming up on an anniversary, so we'll be celebrating that soon as well. So
Yeah,
you've come at a good time for us, to
Yeah,
check us out?
absolutely. Yeah, like you were saying, we're at three. This will be 301 essentially, fundamentally when it goes out on Wednesday. But I was going to say too, and it's funny too because I kind of called out 300. So I think I've called out 200 here or there. I lost track about 300, and I got the email notification, the vidIQ or whatever the hell that we signed up for that we don't really pay for, but we check in. Little, let's see how the YouTube channel's going. Yeah, hey mom, thanks for putting it up on the fridge for me. We're just joking, but we're a little bit bigger than that. But we're not really big. But all joking aside, that 300, yeah, next weekend, it'll be on Saturday, this coming Saturday. Tom and I are still working it out, but we're hoping to do something maybe live or record. Either way, we'll figure it out. And if it do, it will just have to keep your eyes peeled. We'll put out a on the community tab on our page here on that post or the post page there. We'll put out something there. Should you want to know? So just keep an eye out for it. I might put a placeholder out for a future broadcast, but I gotta go do it. Either way, we'll try to put it out here on our home base here, and I'll also swing back into Reddit here. Reddit normally has this deal like where they are very hot or cold, mostly cold, but sometimes hot, and they surprise you and they kind of bring you back. But what's the deal with their silliness, Tom?
Yeah, they've gotten a habit of the Reddit admins will sometimes delete my posts just for the fun of it. So I've been playing tag with them. So if you saw my post before it was taken down, or if it's still up, great. If you're coming from Reddit, hello. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you'll enjoy the show. If not, sorry we wasted your time, but thanks for checking us out. But yeah, hopefully you'll find something enjoyable here. But I'm on Reddit as FirstLastNerdom, also on X under FirstLastNerdom as well. But yeah, I haven't posted yet. If you refresh there, I did do a little quick post post about our Halloween show. We did cover I took a little picture beforehand. But yeah, if you want to check that out, we covered the Blair Witch, a very Halloween movie. Great one to check out on Halloween. But yeah, definitely check that out if you're a huge Blair Witch fan. I did watch the. I'm a physical media guy, and I got the Blair Witch Blu-ray, which had like 2.5 hours of extras. So I was full of knowledge about the behind-the-scenes stuff. So if you don't wanted to know a little bit more about the making of Blair Witch, that's a show to check out. And then I'll let you finish us out on our social media.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I also am on X at 8bit_Inc. And I also have long form content on ApeIt.Ink as well. Thank you so much, Tom. Usually we
Right.
flip flop those around, but Tom played along just fine. So thank you very much, Tom, for picking up that little bit. Anyway, we are here at the XFiles here, and let me. I will just set the table for the audience, if I may. Now, Tom picked two, and I picked two. And I'm gonna name the ones you picked. Oh my god, I have.
Oh, I have it handy if you don't.
Go ahead, please.
So just to cover, I think we'll take them in order. It was interesting because you picked one from the first season, and then the all three of our other ones are from season three. So the first episode you picked, I think we should go in order. So the first one is Ice. It came out in November '93. It looks like
Yep.
it was season one, episode 8, Ice. We'll touch on that in just a moment. The second one is Paperclip, which came out second episode of season 3. It was the third in a three-parter that came out, I believe. I don't have any releases on, but it's 1995
Yeah.
September. And then my picks were Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose, which is season 3, episode 4, which came out in October of the same year. And then my final one is Jose Chung's From Outer Space, season 3, episode 30 or 20, episode 20. They didn't go 30 on a season. But that came out in April April, close to my birthday. So, all right. So yeah, it was interesting to kind of go through. I think they are X-Files is so vast and they covered so much stuff from so many seasons
Hmm.
that I think when people pick out their favorite, it kind of shows their taste and a little bit of who they are. I definitely got a sense of the stuff that you enjoy from the two that you picked, and you probably got the same vibe from the two I picked. But yeah, let's jump into Ice. Tell us, this is your pick.
Yeah,
Tell us all about it.
but yeah, before we jump into ice real quick, I just want to kind of set the
Oh yeah.
bona fides for kind of magnifying what you were talking about. Like it
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely remarkably one of the most profitable TV shows of in history. It's earned its place among the 28 highest grossing television shows of all time. Peak season 97, 98. I remember that very well. This is one of the things that like where me and Tom overlap, like where like Blair Witch, like where we both seen it in real life, in real time back then. At that point in time, we were glued to it. It was a family affair for us, like, for me. But yeah, anyway, jumping back into ice. Just wanted to give. Actually, I did want to ask you what are your bona fides with it? Because like this is like a thing that we like to do, like where we like where we're coming in through. Obviously, I grew up with this, just not quite to the intensity of Star Trek that me and my dad for Next Generation, but we absolutely. This is one of the rare things that my mom actually got into. She could care less if Star Trek was on or off. She didn't care. X Files is probably season 3 or 4. She was like, "Hey, is that on?" And she would. It was awesome. It was awesome. So,
Yep.
it was just, and I have memories of watching this on a Sunday or a weekend. I believe it was Sunday night, or just something really quiet, pitch black out, old farmhouse, creaking, whatever, being on one side of the house and hearing something out, Anyway, so how about you with
Yeah.
that connective tissue, and then we will absolutely
Yeah.
jump into ice. But I just want to take that moment to
Yeah.
kind of ground us.
Yeah, it was a great time for TV for me because Twin Peaks had came out a few years earlier. It was short-lived, but it really tapped into that mystery, that sci-fi, and actually, I don't think I knew at the time or forgot that David Duchovny was played a cross-dressing FBI agent in Twin Peaks. But I didn't think I realized that connective tissue that was the same actor, but I did learn it later on. But yeah, it kind of primed me for, hey, there is still stuff out there on TV that will interest me. So when I heard about the show, I was very excited. It's one of those shows. This is how big a nerd I am. With Twin Peaks and with this show, I knew that from the beginning I was probably going to enjoy the show.
Right.
So from the very beginning, I would throw in a videotape and tape it so that I could rewatch it.
Yep.
So this was one of those shows where I had to record it every week. I had to be home to see this show. It was one of those things. People don't remember, but especially if they weren't alive back then. This was you had to be there to see it. They did rerun it occasionally, but to see the live broadcast, you had to be there. Be there, be square. If you missed out, you missed out. You had to pray for that rerun later on. So yeah, I would record it so I could rewatch it at my leisure. But yeah, it was one of those shows that was huge. I don't think it was my family wasn't huge into sci-fi. My older sister was probably more into going to metal shows and stuff back in the day. So she was less interested in TV. I think my younger sister was big into it with me. I believe she watched it. Yeah, I was so nerdy. I got the Mulder and Scully action figures. Now, I didn't stay with the series. I think once David Duchovny noped out of the show, I kind of lost interest, and I didn't stick with. I didn't see all of the seasons, so maybe I'm not as huge a fan. I think you probably stuck with it, right?
I did for the most part, and we'll get into that a little bit later on to the episode,
Yeah.
later on of like what you should or shouldn't do. Very
Hmm.
surprising advice. I have golden advice for you. Stephen Toast told me this advice. Let me tell you something. John Hamm called me just now. Anyway, we'll get into like never mind me. This is about the show, right? Anyway,
Yeah,
just joking.
yeah,
So
yeah. And one other thing, I was so much of a nerd that when I got my first computer set up, my very own computer set up, I got my screensaver as XFiles. I got my mouse
yeah,
pad that was XFiles, and I had my two XFiles action figures, Mulder and Scully, by my computer. So, yeah, my first big computer layout was XFiles. So, all
absolutely.
right, so let's let's get into it. So
Yeah.
season
So
one, this is right when we were starting to get into XFiles. This one unleashed on us, right?
yeah. So what we're gonna show here, and again, instead of doing the three story excuse me, 3 episode arc that we normally do for a new series or whatever, sometimes we extend that to 4 5 6. That's up to me, that's up to Tom, usually up to me,
Yeah.
because like I'll be like, hey Tom, I really like this, so whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's just more to talk
Hmm.
about. But so why I picked Ice. It is it is a brilliant bottle episode. It's a pure paranoid thriller set in the Arctic, in a research station, a la Thing. All right, you kind of getting this thing, um,
Hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
basically the Thing meets X-Files, and it's from season one. Right, just as you said, Tom, when the show was still finding its voice. Right, so I never saw the Thing. Okay, I saw this one first. So when I saw this, and my dad was like, "That's the Thing." The other reason why this one sticks with me so well is because, like with my dad, anything that we would try to watch follow up things or whatever, for connective things, because he's the he's my dad,
Hmm.
so of course he's going to
Hmm.
know about the Thing, John Carpenter, and and all that. But anyway, um, stuck with me. It's just a classic one, like where they're stuck down there and eventually they get out. But that is why, and there are so many bottle episodes, like what I like to call them, for X Files, like where they stand alone. To me, this is the penultimate classic. I love it. It's a story, a to Z. It's complete. It's done, like I said, it's all in a bottle. That's why this is exactly why X Files has connective tissue with the Twilight Zone from 59 to 64, the Outer Limits, the first one, the old school one, from 63 to 65, and then revived later on from on Showtime, from the mid 90s actually too, and going to the 2001 or 2, whatever it is. But anyway, um, those all those series that I said, those are standalone. So when you had those that were purely episodic like that, and Next Generation, um, but the X Files did not only that, but it also did more things, which, I guess, I'll stop there and I'll hand it back to you for your
Hmm.
thoughts on this, because I'd already seen this. So the deal was that I watched Tom's, Tom watched mine, and if we had time, we would go back and watch our own. Of course, we're going to watch our own, like whatever, at least
Oh
see the
yeah.
highlights. But
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, I'm long winded. I'll throw it back to you. What do you think, Tom? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, I watched all four, but yeah,
Same here.
because
Yeah.
I had my favorites, but I had to rewatch them to remember them because it's been a while since I'd seen them. But yeah, with Ice, I had seen the
This
thing
is the only
before.
one that I would not have to rewatch if because I remember it, but I did anyway. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, so yeah, Ice. It was one I'd seen the thing before I'd seen this, so I did the meme. I was like, when I saw it. But that one.
Or
but
no, the
yeah, the
right.
so so I did see the thing. So yeah, I caught on what they were doing. Yeah, as far as influences, yeah, one of the big influences that they always harken back to the show is Kolchak the Night Stalker. That was one of those older shows I've kind of missed out on. I haven't watched it, but that's like one of those big ones that people talk about. And yeah, you mentioned bottle episode. So specifically, I didn't realize, I didn't know what that was a thing, although I'd seen several episodes like that. But I was watching a commentary on one show. I forget the name of it, but I think it's one of those sci-fi shows. But basically, a bottle episode, which this is a bottle
Yeah, and
episode
I
in
did not come up with
Hollywood
that. I
terms.
read that just like Tom did in
Yeah,
my research
yeah,
here,
yeah.
so I am unoriginal. Well, unlike I am Stephen Toast is original, but I am not. I am a facsimile. Anyway, go on.
So, but yeah, a bottle episode is a self-contained episode that takes place in one location. So it's supposed to be a cheap, you're doing traditional Hollywood, you would be doing 22 episodes, 23 sometimes. But you do so many episodes, you try to save money on one of the episodes. So you shoot it in one location. So that was the idea for this one. However, I was reading it did go over budget, so they didn't save money on this one. But also, they had just hired a new set designer, and that set designer was the same one that did the set design for The Thing. So the little interesting uh, fun fact, actually, his name is. Let me see if I can find that for us. But yeah, I really yeah, it was a very enjoyable episode. It's one of those that's kind of quick and dirty. You pick up on the elements of the story right away. Obviously, it's very inspired by The Thing, and also the story it was based on. But yeah, there's kind of a fun play with Mulder and Scully are still trying to learn the ins and outs of their relationship. So it was fun to have them kind of play off each other and be suspicious, because there's like this parasitic thing that makes you rage and become this creature. This creature takes over you.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, do you have anything else to add to the thing before we go to the next one, or were you looking up something?
um
Sorry.
No, yeah, it doesn't matter. I was trying to see the set designer, but you could find that on the Wikipedia page, like I did. I'm not like some expert, but no, yeah, it's kind of a minimal episode, but it really plays out. It plays, even though it did go over budget. I'm sure the budget. Also, one of the things I wanted to point out, I was looking on the Wikipedia page for each of the episodes. As far as the amount of viewership, I mean, I think the lowest viewed episode was 10 million people. I mean, you probably can't get that many people to watch, something on streaming. I mean, that's huge numbers, which was probably just kind of
20
average
million,
back in the
right?
day. Yeah. Yeah,
Well, that's why I
so
say, like, I mean, that's the Super Bowl. I mean,
yeah,
that 20 million, that is, that is
yeah.
that's
Mhm.
well, maybe not Super Bowl, but that might be a poor analogy. But we're doing this thing as it comes to you, Tom. Real quick, I'll be right back. I have got to go check on my dog real quick. I apologize. I will be right back, and then I'll do the
No worries.
paperclip mythology.
Yep. Alrighty. So yeah, X-Files, Ice. Let's but yeah, so yeah, back it was, like I said, recorded in 1993. You had Fox Mulder, Dana Scully, uh mixing it up on the ice. But yeah, we're gonna go into Paperclip, just to give you some a little information on Paperclip. It's starts off season 3. Actually, it was episode 2, and there was it was third in a three-parter. The I think the first part was the end of the second season, and then the next episode was the follow-up episode was the first one of the season, and then
Yeah, I was gonna.
the create.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say the creators kind of liken the 3 episode thing to like a Star Wars trilogy, and there's like a Sophie's Choice kind of thing in the episode, just to kind of whet your appetite for the episode. But
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. I was gonna say. Sorry, I had to go apply some makeup here, so I could come back on the screen, so I could be a little bit more X-Filesy. Anyway, thanks for playing along, Tom. Anyway, yeah. So this goes back to the. You obviously got I dropped the hint mythology. I picked Paperclip and Ice because they represent what the X-Files does best in two completely different ways. The Paperclip is the mythology heavy. It's about the grand conspiracy, Operation Paperclip, Nazi scientist, alien human hybridization. The kind of episode that makes you want to cover your windows with tinfoil. That's why Ice, on the other hand, is just kind of like a standalone. Like that kind of that thinking. Although I do I love your episode, your 2 episodes, just as much as I love mine. Probably more so, but that Paperclip, like I said, that's what in the early 90s you had Star Trek, Next Generation, it was wrapping up, so there was a natural place for a sci-fi nerds to go. You had Quantum Leap, but that's it is what it is. You had the original Twin Peaks, but there was that, but it was there and then it was gone. And that was like that for a lot of shows. So that, I think that's also why, and I'm going to give the bridge back to you for Paperclip if you had anything else to add. Otherwise, we can rock right on. And shame on me for not controlling the dial
switching
here.
over.
Yeah. Anyway,
The
yeah. Well, that's all I was going to say was just that.
Yeah, it's the structure of the X-Files, if I'm sure you don't need me to explain it, but yeah, like you were saying, it's made up of, it's interesting because it's kind of an interesting mix. Like a lot of television is episodic, it was made so, since they knew people weren't going to be able to watch every single episode ever of a season for the most part. So they wanted to make every episode sort of self-contained for the most part for regular television. Twin Peaks sort of broke that mold in telling a soap opera type story, which a continuing story throughout the episodes, which is now just a thing that we do now and expect in our shows. But back in the day, they're more episodic. And so Twin Peaks was very much a soap opera continuing story, whereas X-Files sort of was a hybrid. They had their episodic episodes, but then they had their, like you said, their mythology episodes, which ran the span of 2 or 3 episodes, and they had an overarching story that went over the whole damn series, which I don't know. Since I got noped out at different points, I don't know if they ever wrapped it up. We could talk about that towards the end, but yeah, this one, it was kind of enjoyable watching this one again, because it gave me that flavor again of what the X-Files was built on, and it was written by the creator Chris Carter. Also, shame on us, we didn't say, like, the Ice was written by Morgan and Wong, Glenn Morgan and James Wong. They were a big writing team for the X-Files. They wrote a whole bunch of episodes. It was directed by David Nutter, and then this episode, Paperclip, is directed by Rob Bowman and written by the creator of the series, Chris Carter. So this is sort of his this was his mythos for the show. So it was kind of interesting seeing his vision. I did enjoy it. There's a lot of cloak and dagger, finding out, who's lying, what the big conspiracy is, where are those damn aliens. It was very very fun to watch. I did notice it starts with this Indian mystic, this Native American mystic, talking about a white buffalo and all that. I don't know. At the time, I'm sure I ate it up like candy. But
Right.
watching it today, it seemed pretty hokey, pretty
Right.
hokey, and maybe a little insensitive, maybe just a tad, a little scoosh. I think. I think it would have been done slightly different today, but yeah, I can look over it. At times, the Scully, Dana Scully, was spot on. Gillian Anderson, I love her acting. Although David Duchovny, there were some moments in the really intense scenes. His his acting for Fox Mulder was a little weak in this episode. It is almost kind of, he was kind of reading some of his lines kind of flat, and that kind of stood out to me on rewatching this episode. And not to the point where it ruined the episode, but I noticed, I was like, ooh, he probably wanted to do maybe another take of that. Or maybe he should have.
Excuse me. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and another thing, watching this episode, and especially that one from the season one, is like, damn, these are youngins. I was like, damn, they're
I
young.
know. I
When I originally watched it as a teenager, these are adults. They're doing adult
oh,
things. But well, actually, I was early 20s. But yeah, now it's like these
almost
are these are young kids.
very like babies. Like real seriously. Like you. I remember why I had the biggest crush on Scully, like many nerds did, I'm sure. But you notice these things, and I remember. You remember when TV Guide, came out? What that was a
Uh-huh.
thing.
Yeah.
They had not like comic books do, but they would have different variations of cover episodes or issues rather. I bought like every other one that I could that I saw that when Gillian Anderson was like the interview of the week or whatever. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's fun. Like what you were saying, mythology. Um, they work best when they're grounded in character emotion. And from mine, Paperclip does that. I think for them, for the most part, it's the
Hmm.
core of what the thing is. Um,
Yep.
but with XFiles, the mythology becomes increasingly convoluted as the series
Hmm.
progresses. What starts as a
Hmm.
coherent conspiracy about alien colonization and
Hmm.
government complicity, eventually becomes this tangled web of alien rebels, black oil, bees, smallpox vaccination. It loses the thread. Anyway, I'll
Hmm.
throw it back to you.
Yep, and it was fun to see. I'm glad one of the episodes we picked had the lone gunman in it. It was always fun to see them. They had a short-lived series. I think it's only a one season, a few episodes. So I'm sorry that
Right.
didn't get more love than it did. But I really enjoyed those actors that are the lone gunmen. I would have loved to see more of them. Is what I was trying to say in the whole mythology of the X-Files. But yeah, it's one of those episodes that I did quite enjoy at the time, and it still has that kind of fascination. You do get the kind of curious as to what the whole big damn conspiracy is.
Right.
The like you said, one of the risk of an ongoing series is that you want to tease them, keep them occupied, keep them interested in the mystery, but you don't want to do the full payoff because then people will lose interest in the show.
Like an
So sort
onion.
of
Yep.
it's absolutely like any show, like when there's a love interest between two characters, you can't really pay off them getting together because then the whole tension of the show kind of disappears. That just goes away, and then the show kind of disappears at that point. Sort of like with Twin Peaks, once they solved the mystery of who killed Laura Palmer, it kind of deflated the balloon, and they tried to expand the balloon again, but it lost the audience in the meantime.
Right.
But with X-Files, they did a wonderful job of keeping it going, keeping the mystery going, and giving enough breadcrumbs along the way to keep people interested and keep people talking. This show kind of got its start, like we were talking about the internet with Blair Witch. X-Files was one of those shows that kind of came before the internet, but kind of lasted long enough for the internet to catch up. And there was like chat groups and message boards talking about X Files. I remember talking to fans about X Files. There was just this whole community. In fact, one of my favorite writers, Tom Lagodi, he famously wrote, he was so taken with the X Files, he wrote his unsolicited script for an episode, which is amazing. I love that. But he just, since, the X Files, Chris Carter wasn't interested in the script. He just posted it online, and so I read it online as a fan. He put it on his website, so it was really fun just to read that. There's this whole thing about X Files, and they had novelizations. I read those, but before we get into all of that, let's go to my episode, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to our first one, Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose. Again, season 3, episode 4, directed by David Nutter and written by my fave, Darren Morgan. He was the story editor. He only wrote 4 episodes in the original run of the series. His first one was Humbug. This was his second episode. He he wrote it in a
Darren
bit of
Morgan, you're saying, right?
Darren Morgan, yeah, Darren
Okay.
Morgan is the writer. Yeah, he I quickly learned his name because I was so taken with his episodes. There's a certain feel to a Darren Morgan episode. There's this mix of humor and darkness. There's just a different flavor to his
And
episodes.
and didn't he did 3? He didn't he do Hamburg?
Yeah,
Um
Humbug was his
Humbug,
first one.
excuse
He
me,
did
Humbug. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. He did four of the original series. He did a few others on the reboot, but yeah, Humbug. He did Final Repose, and he did Jose Chung on my second pick, and then he did another one in between. I forget the name of that one, but yeah, he did 4. But he was also the story editor. He wrote this in a fit of depression, so that that might be kind of the dark tone of it. He wrote it very dark. He wanted to make a more of a traditional X-Files episode, but he went back and added more jokes to it. I think it really pays off with the humor in this episode. He's a very smart writer. A lot of his jokes really land for me. And this is sort of kind of a representation of who I am. I enjoy a show or a movie where it's dark but there's humor to it. And this is a smartly written, very dark but it's kind of almost cynically humorous, and it kind of plays
Well,
with
I did want to mention, you say humorously. I just wanted to mention this too. Wasn't Peter Boyle in this episode too?
yeah, he was the
Yeah.
actor. Darren Morgan wanted Bob Newhart to play that role, but he wasn't able to do it. So they got Peter Boyle. Chris Carter was kind of against getting named actors, famous actors, to do this, but he felt that this episode kind of needed that in it. So he allowed for Peter Boyle to do this. He does a wonderful portrayal. It really is a standout acting episode for him. I was very much, I didn't know really who Peter Boyle was. at the time, and through this episode I really got to know him as an actor and enjoy him and go back, and even though I had seen him already in Young Frankenstein, I really kind of got into who Peter Boyle was as an actor and really
Oh,
kind of
absolutely.
appreciated his au revoir because of this episode.
Well, and
um
and everything from that to Bob Newhart or Peter Boyle would be they would have been perfect either one. Well, I'm
mhm.
glad we got Peter Boyle, but everybody loves Raymond. Like he played the dad, father-in-law, whatever. On that, he's passed away since then. But um, anyway, I was just gonna say, going back to what you were saying about Morgan, he understands something fundamental that you can't take the premise of X Files too seriously all the time. If you did, this show would have never lasted beyond 5 seasons. But because it can take that and bait you and give you a little bit, but have you more questions than answers, like that kind of that cycle, and you love it. um, but I could see like where like that grind could be exhausting, but like you were saying, the way that he does this, you have to kind of question, just like any kind of mystery or noir or whatever, or anything, you have to question it. You have to deconstruct it. You got to kind of put your own theories in there. That's where you put you bring yourself in and try to solve the mystery or whatever. You interact with it some kind of way, but sometimes you laugh at it. Anyway, I just wanted to say it's very rare for a science fiction series to be able to do all of that. Like we just captured a bottle, versus the mythology that continues on. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, and I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, and with season three, we understand the characters enough and their interplay with each other to play with it, to kind of
Right.
stretch it and tear at it, to kind of have fun with it at this point. So, this is about a serial killer that's been killing fortune tellers, and it piqued Mulder's and Scully's interest. So they show up. There's like a little mislead there where one of the agents that are on the scene that's covering it says they called someone to the case that is known for these cases and that would be perfect for it. And you're thinking, oh, he's talking about Fox Mulder because he's the guy. And then Fox Mulder shows up and he goes, oh, you're here. And no, he wasn't expecting him. He didn't want Mulder there. He was looking forward to the mystic, the guy that's kind of based off of Uri Geller. You got Yappy, this sort of charlatan guy that bends spoons, and or in the case of this, bends pins, writing pins, and he's kind of a little flamboyant. And Mulder, being the accepting of the paranormal and the all things supernatural and psychic, you would think he'd immediately go to Yappy with like a fish to water, but he's the one that's kind of poking fun at him, that has this sort of he he's got this negative energy that this Yappy picks up on, and it kind of plays with who Mulder is, and at this point, he's into the supernatural, but when it's all in and as flamboyant as Yappy is, it kind of breaks it for him, and and you can see where and in fact Scully's a little bit more accepting of Yappy than Mulder. Mulder's sent out in the hall with his negative energy to to kind of deal with it. And Peter Boyle, they kind of stumble on him because he finds one of the victims, and he's kind of psychic, but the only thing he can do is tell when someone's going to die, and how they're going to die and where they're going to die. And
Peter
it's one of
Boyle,
those
right? Clyde,
Peter Boyle,
Clyde,
yep,
right?
yep, Clyde Bruckman, and and he it kind of really it's a funny episode. It's an interesting episode, well written episode, but it kind of plays with predeterminism, and is a little bit too much information detrimental to you. If you know when
Right.
everybody's going to die, that's kind of a weight that's almost unbearable. There's like this depressive feel, almost like you're ticking off the time when this person's going to die, because you know when they're going to die and how they're going to die, and it's very heavy. In the character study of Peter Boyle, he kind of deals with it with his kind of bitter humor, sort of a uh kind of straight faced humor to it all. But you could tell the depressive kind of feeling within him as he kind of stumbles through this, and he's
Well,
kind of trying to find the light within this, and he kind of sees that in Scully. This Scully's sort of like this bright light that he can kind of latch onto.
he has like a existential depression, whatever.
Hmm.
Like, I will say too, credit where due. Uh, you had Morgan and Boyle who won Emmys for this episode, which
Hmm.
is, um, well, it's why it's unimpeachable. Like why this is the third season. Um, what I was going to say too, I had the Clyde Bruckman. No, that's right. That's what I want to say. David Nutter, director David Nutter, he was the same guy. He did Ice too. So,
Yep. Yep.
um, these things run in pairs and threes and fours and five. Like these guys show
Hmm.
up again and again and again because they're
Hmm.
so good.
Yep.
I
Yep.
just want to say that too. But this one was a perfect one that you did, or that you picked. You know, um, yeah, yeah. You want to say anything about the fake television psychic at all, or no?
Oh, I did mention him. He was based off of Yuri Geller, a real
Right.
psychic guy.
That's right. You
But
did.
yeah,
Right.
he's
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
yep, yep, yep. The character in this is Yappy.
Yeah. The
It's a
stupendous
it's a
Yappy.
yeah, it's a spot on. Go back and watch from the 70s and 80s a video clip. Look up Yuri Geller
Oh
on
man.
YouTube and see and watch this episode and see how spot on that that recreation is. It's amazing. But yeah, really great episode. I really enjoyed. Um, like I said, Scully's very charming in it. There's a she's almost childlike when she's with Peter Bull. She kind of lets down her FBI front. There's a scene where they're in opposite beds and they're having like a very charming sort of a scene together, and she's almost like a kid kind of sitting cross-legged on the bed, what you would never really see Scully doing in a regular episode. She's just sort of letting all of her guard down and just having a very pure back and forth with this Clyde character, and it really pays off at the end when what happens to the Clyde character. But it really kind of also plays around with predetermination and can you change fate. And
Right.
there's a he has this vision of how Mulder might uh, meet his end in this episode, and it's interesting to see how it plays out in reality, and it kind of plays with your expectations. There's like a little thing there that it really kind of pays off, and then we also find out how each Mulder and Scully is going to die. Evidently, according to Clyde, Mulder meets his death with erotic asphyxiation,
That's why it's
which
fun. It's fun, right? Right.
absolutely. And there was like the thing where in an earlier episode Mulder talks about his stash of porn, so kind of plays in with the character. But he could have been teasing Mulder, so we don't know. And then the fans really enjoy the fact that he tells Scully that she doesn't die, which questions whether or not Scully is immortal, and they think a lot of the fans think it kind of pays off because I think in a later season, I think it's season 11. I didn't see it, but evidently the Scully character dies, but then comes back. So that kind of plays in with the immortal. So, wow, you I didn't know we've been going on so long in the episode, but evidently we are. But yeah, so it kind of plays along with with that, and I think one of the creators, I think it's Frank Spotniks, or I'm probably saying his last name wrong, but he says yes, Scully is immortal.
Right. Interesting.
So yeah,
Well, I that
little
one
fun
is
fact.
a beautiful bridge to the last one. Like I love this. What I was just gonna say, meaninglessness, fate versus free will. You know, these are, we're not even gonna go into those, but the
It's
fact that
it's
you
a
could, you know, is
it's
tantamount
this
to why it
episode.
won 2 Emmys. You know,
Yeah, it's multi-layered episode where, yeah, it's a fun episode, it's an entertaining episode, but there's like you said, there's that stuff you can get into and play. It makes you really think about, predetermination, free will. It really plays into that and really makes you think if you want to think, or you can just watch it as a fun episode. But yeah, I think that kind of covers Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose. And then our final episode that we're going to cover is, yeah, I think is my personal favorite. If I had to narrow it down to just one, it would be Jose Chung's From Outer Space, written again by Darren Morgan and directed by Rob Bowman, one of my favorite directors of X-Files. He directed your episode, the mythology episode, Paperclip. And yeah, Darren Morgan again wrote this, and it really kind of breaks the mold for a X-Files episode. It really plays with a a certain narrator. It plays with talking about how a witness to a crime or a witness to something doesn't always tell it correctly. They're coming from their memory, and memory can be play tricks on you.
right?
And it opens beautifully. You think you're seeing the underside of a spaceship, much like the beginning of Star Wars New Hope. You're going across the bottom of what looks like a spaceship across the sky, and you expand out, and nope, it's just a little bucket from a electrical truck working on some guy working on the lines, and he's in the bucket, and it's just that's sort of the humor of this. It really plays with, it gives you like a little chuckle. It really kind of plays with your expectations. There's that visual. There's a lot of visual gags in this episode, but there's also a lot of interesting dialogue. Again, Jose Chung is a writer, and he's tasked with covering what happened in this situation. Two teenagers claim that they were abducted. One originally thought maybe she was physically assaulted by her um, male counterpart, but were they abducted by aliens? Was there a third alien that showed up that abducted those aliens as well? There's a big mix of what's real, what's not real. The original aliens appear to be speaking English and may not be who they say they are. At one point, one of the aliens is smoking a cigarette in the recollection of one of the teenagers. But yeah, Jose Chung is having a fun time kind of piecing together what's going on. They originally wanted I think Rip Taylor to
Oh, no kidding.
be the actor, but they got
I didn't know
Charles
that.
Nelson Riley. They got Charles Nelson Riley, which is perfect for this role. Another standout role. um, for this, and he's got the right balance of charm, humor, and Scully's kind of taken with him because he's one of her favorite writers, and you're getting quite arctic on us, but yeah, but yeah,
Yes,
he's
I can
tasked
hear you,
with it.
Clem Fandango.
But she's tasked with explaining the situation. So it's her recollection of what happened. Mulder doesn't want anything to do with this writer. He knows he's probably going to do not do a proper job of it and muck things up. So he's kind of standing out of it. But Scully agrees to it because he's one of her favorite writers. So she just wanted to meet him and try to talk to him.
I was going to say, well, Jose Chung is X-Files eating itself. It's the meta textualization of deconstruction of the entire thing of the show.
Yeah.
And I was also going to say too, this is Darren Morgan at his most ambitious and experimental too. Just like we saw in the last one too. So you want to talk about creativity and taking chances and knowing how to play it. I don't know, that's like a small back of the envelope, back of the movie title kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I love that you picked this one. This is just the most perfect for. I mean, you can pick your own, whatever, but
Yeah.
I like.
Please do put in the comments down below your favorite 2 episodes, and maybe we'll do a follow up. If we get enough picks that are different, we can maybe have a runoff on the favorite of all times. Although, again, I'll throw my hat in the ring at any time of day that this is the best episode of X-Files, at least for me. Like I
Well,
said,
you're not
it kind of
wrong.
represent, yeah.
Yeah.
like the anybody's favorite is going to kind of represent who they are and their taste. So obviously, not this maybe not for everybody. Again, like you said, it kind of stretches and tears at what X
What
Files is,
what the
and
hell
really
does
kind of.
that mean, Tom? What the hell did you just talk? What did you just call me, dude? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Go on.
but, but yeah, it really plays with it. It really kind of examines the phrase "trust no one" because
It does.
yeah, it really kind of plays with there's a recurring theme of self or of hypnosis and what that means and does that really work, and there's a really a fun and informed thing where the girl's recollecting what she sees, but it's kind of overlapping reality. It's like these guys standing around around
That's
her,
right.
and then it kind of overlaps like she's seeing aliens, and those aliens are the people standing around the room. So it's like the environmental influences of what's really there is really kind of influencing her hypnosis and what's really real and what's not real. And she goes through 2 hypnosis sessions, and it changes in both. It does kind of hint
Remember that.
toward maybe
Right.
maybe a reality of what might be going on by the end of the episode, if you're willing to accept
Indulge.
um indulge Mulder's take on what goes down. There's this kind of a satisfying into it of kind of knowing somewhat what happened. If you're willing to accept a crazy kind of conspiratorial kind of mind fuck, so to speak. There is a story there. Otherwise, it's a mess of what's real and what's not real, and it really has a kind of fun interplay. And I have to say, there's a character in the he's wearing a space above and beyond t-shirt. He's like the classic incel. He's the incel before incels, so to speak. And he just wants to be abducted
Right.
by aliens to get out of there. I mean, there's a dime a dozen of those people nowadays, but he was kind of like a prototype of that incel that's ever
Q
present today online.
Q Blink
uh,
182. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna say I wanted to go back to that. The mythology promised answers it never had. the series continued past its creative peak because it was successful monetarily.
Mhm.
You know, um,
Yep.
the revival seasons tried to recapture magic, but no, that was only rooted in nostalgia and time and place. You know, but what
I will say with the reboot in the 2010s, the best episode was written by Darren Morgan. He came back to write one of
yeah,
the with those episodes, which
you're
was quite
right. He
enjoyable.
did. Yep.
Not as good as this episode, but you know,
But it's still,
it's still quality.
but
It's
it's
still quality.
worst. Yeah, but its worst effort, okay, is like better than the best of the best for medial, you know,
Hmm.
garbage.
Hmm.
What I say is 99 to 95% of anything produced in a given year is garbage. That doesn't mean that it's bad or good garbage. It's just there. It's for consumption. You eat it, you consume it, you throw it out, then you go to the next one. You know, like you don't even remember it, but that is why the 4 episodes that we've discussed tonight represent the show at its absolute peak. Ice
Yep.
demonstrates how a simple, focused story executed with skill can prevent or can show unforgettable TV. You know, Paperclip shows how conspiracy storytelling works when it's grounded in real history and character emotion. As you get to know these folks, um, your final repose um, proves that genre television can tackle, the profound big questions about fate and existentialism, morality, whatever. And the last one, Jose Chung from Outer Space, shows that you can really deconstruct your own show while still honoring what makes it fundamentally
Makes
X
it work. Yeah.
Files. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
you really have to build the foundation of what XFiles is before you
Right.
can tear it down and recreate it. Which this is what does, and Darren, with 22 episodes a season, obviously
So
you're gonna get
different than
some.
today.
Yeah, yeah, so different from today, and you're gonna get some bad episodes. You're gonna have to rush some of the things, and I think the worst episodes were those monsters of the week things that gets thrown out there. But with a Darren Morgan episode, there's something a little bit different. There's a little bit better writing, a lot better writing. He's exploring things that a lesser writer couldn't do, that couldn't get across of the message. But this is there's some great dialogue in this, a lot of humorous lines in both Clyde and this one. Great lines that are kind of played, and it really plays with the little banter that both Mulder and Scully have with each other.
Right.
They kind of make little digs at each other every now and then, but it's very playful and very funny. But yeah, a lot of great characters in this. I would almost want this episode be expanded out into a movie. There's just so much there, but it's great that it's kind of compacted down into 45 minutes. It's just jam packed with interesting stuff. One of my favorite narrators in this was the incel. I love his descriptions of Skulder and Molly. Scully being described as a man trying to dress as a woman with maybe a blonde or a red wig with a really bad red or blonde or red or dark dark wig, and Mulder being and they're like men in black, and that Mulder didn't say much, but when he saw the alien, he went. I love the thing that if I forget everything about the episode, the thing I remember most is Mulder yelling, screaming out when he sees the alien. And there's a wonderful kind of play on, if you remember back in the day, if you're around during the 90s, you knew about Alien Autopsy. And
Oh God,
this
yeah.
episode really plays up, sort of does a parody of Alien Autopsy with what may be an alien. They find out later that it's it's most likely not an alien. But there's a lot of little plays with expectations. They play with the Men in Black. They play with all of the UFO trappings of the
Right.
day. I love the Men in Black. They show up to this one guy that's the second witness of this that confirms the absence of aliens. And one of the guys, Men in Black, is Jesse Ventura. And then later on, you find out that the other guy is Alex Trebek, or someone that looks awful lot like Alex Trebek, and everybody
Right.
realize knows that it's Alex Trebek.
Yeah,
Very, very, very funny.
I was gonna say, I think we're winding up to the point that I had teased at for the end of the show, and this is gonna kind of sort of puts Tom on the spot, but he's kind of already been in that spot anyway. So have I. But I was gonna bring this back up to. So we have picked our 4 episodes that represent the X Files, I think, perfectly well, and we just went through that. But if I could give advice to someone approaching the X Files in 2025 for our Gen Z and our Gen Alpha out there, it would be this: don't watch all of the episodes. This is what I say. I say to watch the best 50 to 60 episodes. Focus on 1 through 5, seasons 1 through 5, and stop before the show goes down. And then maybe pick off the ones after you see those core shows, because that, I think, is the perfect balance of getting to know what X-Files is, whether you watch it through 4, our matrix of 4, that is X-Files, or you pick some other path. You're going to get to those top 60 episodes or whatever. But if you focus on those standalone episodes, then you're going to have you're like Tom was saying. If you stick with Darren, all right, you're going to get brilliant writing, directing, and acting. It's just going to happen. Now there are other things there. There's the movie. We're not going to get into that. I think that we've talked about this, and there's enough love here that we can have another show where we maybe talk about the extended X Files thing. I think Tom is nodding yes, yeah, like that. We have a lot to say about this thing. And anyway, I'll throw it back to you, Tom. What would you say? Somebody coming in new, you're Gen Alpha, you're Gen Z. What do you tell them for X Files? And hopefully you don't end up like me, an old man, and you just get grayer and grayer. But yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Are you are you are you trying to say this is a long-winded episode? You're aging
I
before our eyes.
I love this episode, by the way, sir. I will have you know this is my best work, sir. My best work. You can't show me that I'm going to be on Doctor Who. No.
Yes, I think this is our most brutal episode ever. But no, well, let's say, all right. Just to wrap up a little bit on before I get to my recommendations on how to watch the episodes.
Yeah, please,
Jose
please.
Chung. I love the fact that it kind of plays with that it's regular television.
Right.
Even though it was cable, Fox was like one of the major networks at the time, and one of the no-nos of an of a that is that you can't curse on regular television. So I love the kind of interplay with it where Scully, in her recollection, one of the local detectives was very foul mouthed, and so when she would talk about that person, his expletives were made up of bleeps and blips and bleeps and his curses. I really love that. And then I also liked the Jose Chung actually ended up writing a book, and there's a scene of Scully reading it, and the The book is a parody of Communion by Whitley Schreiber, who's a famous horror writer that famously got visited by aliens, or so he says. And his famous book, recollecting his experiences, was the book Communion. Check it out. But it had an alien on it. Shame on me. Whitley Strieber wrote a fictional alien book after that. Was It's amazing. I forget the name of it. But yeah, it definitely check that out if you could track it down. But
Damn
uh
it!
but yeah, but but yeah, and also if you like the character Jose Chung, he comes back in Chris Carter had another series called Millennium, starring Lance
Oh
Herkinson,
God, I forgot about that.
and there's a couple of episodes that Darren Morgan wrote, and those are my two favorite episodes of Millennium. But the writer character Jose Chung comes back on an episode of Millennium called Jose Chung's, I think it's called Doomsday something or other. I
Huh.
forget the name of it,
I know
but
you're
check
talking
that
about though.
out
I've heard
if
that.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. But if you like that character Jose Chung, check that out. But yeah, that's a kind of wrap up on the episode. Excellent episode. But yeah, as far as watching it, this is a Fox, like I said, a Fox property, which, as you know, is owned by Disney.
Oh
And
fuck!
Disney
You are so
Disney does.
smart. You bring in the modder into what I was talking about. Go ahead, my friend.
And so is Agent Scully a Disney princess? I don't. No one said anything about that, but I would put in for her being a princess. But
Listen, I will fight. I will white knight the
but
shit out of that. Anyway, go on. Go on. Go on. Go on.
but no. So Disney has a long hatred for physical media. So since they've owned it, they've let those Blu-rays and DVDs go out of print. If you try to go and buy them online on Amazon, DVD box set of one of the seasons runs $40, which is crazy. If that's cheap. That's cheap. Some run up to $100 a box. So, very, very hard to get into it. If you have a region free player, you can get the Blu-rays on UK, Amazon UK. The whole 11 season run for like I think a little over $200, which isn't too crazy, uh, but maybe a little bit more rich than it should be. So it's very hard. I was watching just recently an episode of on another channel, Planet CHH. That guy's really into physical media, much like myself. He's quite a bit younger, and he missed out on XFiles, and he really wants to get into XFiles. And so yeah, he talks about his kind of adventures with getting a lot of the seasons. He went to one of his local shops that carry physical media, and he would luck upon almost all of the seasons of X Files pretty cheaply. So good luck with him. So it's still alive today, and he's kind of spreading the love of it. But if you're not adverse to streaming, it is on Hulu, and as Mike says, you don't have to watch every episode or Stephen Toast, elderly Stephen Toast that we have now. But as far as watching it, again, there's a lot of Monsters of the Week episodes. So my recommendation is if it's written by Chris Carter, if you notice in the credits, it's written by Chris Carter, you probably want to stick it out, even if you don't care for that episode, because it's probably part of the mythology. So definitely watch those so that you can keep up with the mythologies. But if you start watching an episode, it seems like a self-contained monster of a week episode and it doesn't really catch your fancy, skip it because it's an episodic episode and whatever they cover in that episode probably isn't going to be worth noting. It's not going to be carried over to the next episode, and if it does, it'll have like a little recap in the beginning of the next episode telling you the important parts to remember from that previous episode. So yeah, just watch the first 5-10 minutes of an episode. If it doesn't catch your interest, you can skip it. Anything written by Chris Carter probably stick out if you're interested in the mythology. And like I said, if it's written by Darren Morgan, definitely watch it, and you will be very much appreciated. And like I said, it started getting weak. Definitely when Mulder disappears is like I said when I noped out.
It's
I've always been kind of curious about going back. I did see I don't think I've seen all of the movies. I definitely saw the
I have
first
not.
movie. But yeah. So yeah, I've always kind of been interested in maybe going back and watching them. But again, 20 episodes a season, and if they're kind of the weaker seasons, I don't know if I could stick through it. But so I might take my advice and kind of go through it and watch the episodes that I think are maybe go online and kind of figure out what people say is like canon and you need to watch as far as those episodes, kind of navigate them that way. But yeah, if you have a recommendation on how to watch them, definitely let us know down below. And yeah, and tell us your experience with X Files and your love or not love of X Files. But yeah, show us some love and give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you liked this episode. I look a little bit different in our regular episodes, so don't get used to this look. But or Mike usually looks a little bit younger, but
Well,
yeah,
the truth is out there. But maybe
trust
the
no one.
truth. Well, maybe the truth is that the X Files was never really about aliens or government conspiracies. It was about two people who trusted each other in a world where trust is the sacredest commodity. You know, it was about the search for meaning in chaos. But it was about believing in something that when empirical evidence says you shouldn't.
Or maybe it was much like
Clip.
Moon, yeah, or maybe a romantic comedy where two agents fall in love, and will they or won't they?
Why? Yes, there's that tension there. That is true. All right, we're gonna cut it here, right? And then I think this would be funny. And another thing, because it looks like it went down on the female silver silver surfer. All right, I'm gonna cut that. That's not gonna be in the thing. But anyway, I think we already ended. But
Mhm.
anything else to add or whatnot?
I think we're good.
All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna cut it here.
All right.